Good evening and welcome to the next episode of Fiero Cast. We will be joined shortly by Tom Pazimski, president of the Wisconsin Fiero Fanatics. This episode, we will talk to Tom about the Wisconsin Dells show held the weekend after Memorial Day at the Chula Vista Resort in the beautiful Wisconsin Dells. And that show is coming up really fast. I would say within the next couple weeks here, you should be set, ready to go to this show. It is a great show to kick off not only the show season, but the Midwest Fiero Club's Best in the Midwest. And this year, it's Best 84 Fiero. But before we get in too deep in that, we are pleased to announce that FieroCast has been awarded the Best Iconic American Car Brand Enthusiast Club of 2023 for Illinois. This award, organized by the Business Concepts, is based in the United Kingdom, published quarterly, and the Business Concepts brings readership the most up-to-date insights and features of businesses with presence in digital media. The Automotive Award is a program that recognizes and celebrates the achievements of the best and the brightest in a specific industry, including not only manufacturing of cars, suppliers, and dealers, but also the service providers and the companies and programs that support the automotive throughout the whole automotive program. With FieroCast having almost 50 episodes and more are coming, FieroCast has been a project that started back in 2020 for the Fiero community. So thank you to the Fiero community for your support and listening to FieroCast. It has been a pleasure producing each and every episode for you. As always, I am your host, Mike Croyer, and you are listening to the newest episode of FieroCast, the only podcast dedicated to the Pontiac Fiero in the Fiero community. You can find past FieroCast episodes at FieroFocus.com or on our Facebook page and also YouTube. We would like to thank our FieroCast supporters for this 2024 season: the Fiero Store, Rodney Dickman, Bontur Solutions, the Midwest Fiero Clubs, Golden Eye Graphic, the Northern Illinois Fiero Enthusiasts, Auto Modella, and A1 Auto Transport. This episode is brought to you by the Midwest Fiero Clubs and A1 Auto Transport. The Midwest Fiero Clubs is a region of the AACA and is a dedicated group of enthusiasts whose passion is to promote and preserve the Pontiac Fiero in the Fiero community. The Midwest Fiero Clubs consists of members from existing Fiero clubs. The vast range of clubs such as the Arizona Fiero Club, Heartland Fieros, Kansas City Fiero Owners Group, Michigan Fiero Club, Mid-America Fieros, Mid-Atlantic Fiero Owners Association, Midwest Fieros, Minnesota Fieros Forever, North Texas Fiero Club, Northern Illinois Fiero Enthusiasts, and the Wisconsin Fiero Fanatics. The Midwest Fiero Club's intent is to support member clubs and promote Fiero-related events. The Midwest Fiero Clubs cross-promotes the shows and activities of each of the member clubs. The intent is to enable enthusiasts to discover events in areas other than their own, and to warrant more participation. This was created and brought together a tighter-knit community of Fiero owners and facilitated some of the greatest regional shows that may not have ever happened. So head over to midwestfieroclubs.aaca to check out their website, or head over to their Facebook page on Facebook under Midwest Fiero Clubs to see what you are missing and to keep updated on all the latest and greatest happenings with the Midwest Fiero Clubs and their associated clubs. With over 3 decades of experience in vehicle transportation, A1 Auto Transport stands as a reliable choice for Fiero enthusiasts. Specializing in a seamless transport of Pontiac Fieros nationwide, the company takes pride in its commitment to excellence. Recognizing the unique needs of Fiero owners and collectors, A1 Auto Transport ensures the safe and efficient transportation of these iconic vehicles. Their state-of-the-art equipment and experienced drivers guarantee a smooth journey for your prized Fiero. For a worry-free Fiero transport experience, individuals can visit our website at www.a1autotransport.com. That's www.a1autotransport.com. Trust A1 Auto Transport to handle the journey of your classic ride with precision and care. Safe travels on the open road. Remember, A1autotransport.com. All right, we are here with the Prezz. Tom from the Wisconsin Fiero Fanatics. Most of you guys know him from the big event that he puts on, a long time put on for the show, up at the Wisconsin Dells, the Dells Run. But before we get into the Dells Run, thank you, Tom, for joining me. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for joining me tonight. So, when did you first become interested in the Fiero?
Back in 1989, I bought a Fiero to go back and forth to work. And I looked at it as, it was a 1984 Fiero SE, 4-cylinder, 4-speed. And I looked at it as a commuter car. I bought it on a Saturday and brought it home. My son John took it for a ride, liked it, and then called me up Sunday morning and told me there was another one for sale. And so we went and looked at that, and that was my road to demise. I started buying Fieros and loved them.
What was the draw to it, though? I know a lot of people say it was the styling, the just the overall look, the feel. It had a go-kart feel to it, but what was your draw to the Fiero?
That weekend that I purchased it and purchased the other one, I found out how easy they were to work on. Everybody tells me how hard they are. I see posts that say it, but it was next to no tools you needed, and it was really easy to work on, where all you needed was a 7, a 10, and a 13, and a 15 millimeter, really. And you're easy to take fenders off, car parts off, everything, you know? And that's what I really liked about it. Plus, they were super good on gas. It wasn't so much the styling of it as it was the fit. Is that an easy way to put it?
Yeah.
I had a Mustang, and this kind of reminded me of the '67 Mustang I had.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, I've had mine since '97, and they are very easy to work on, and I think that's just one of the nice things about it is the easiness of working with them. So from your first one to now, how many have you owned?
I was talking with John about that. I had between 120 and 130 Fieros since 1988, 89.
Wow.
Now, a lot of them were to save Fieros. Is that a way to put it?
Yeah.
If I got one that was in an accident, I would take the car apart. I wouldn't be cutting parts off. I'd put everything in bags and label it for wiring harnesses, the screws, everything you could possibly think, the front headlight assemblies. And I would hold them until we'd come to Fiero-Rama or to the Dells and sell parts to people who needed them. So I've had quite a few.
The ones that I remember the most, since knowing you, and ones that really stood out are, one, your blue GT, the Lamborghini, and then, if my mind is correct, you did have a Knight Rider interior car, correct?
That's correct. That was that 84 SE, if you can believe it. I had seen the dash in the movie, and so I ended up contacting the guy in California, who actually did the Knight Rider car.
Nice.
And his parents lived in Michigan, and he said he had a dash in Michigan. So I bought the dash from him, found out that all of the electronics and everything were fake. They were done on a table. That or all the talking of the dash and everything.
Yeah.
And so it was like show and tell. But he said, if you want to make it more authentic, he gave me the number of a gentleman in Canada that built all the driver boards. Now, this was before they had digital Dakota and everything like that.
Yep.
And so I got all of that from Canada.
That's pretty cool. That's something.
Yeah.
The Lambo, that's also another impressive build there. And
Yeah.
taking some time to do too, right?
I got about 15 years tied up in it. And every time I start working on it, I want to update something. So it's a continual work in progress. I found an advertisement that a guy wanted to trade a Lamborghini kit car and a tennis bracelet for a bar. And my brother-in-law was selling his bar. What?
Like a bar? Like a drinking bar?
Yeah. And my brother-in-law had a bar that he was trying to sell. So I figured I could work a deal out. Well, when I went to look at it, he had two Fieros there and a kit that was still wrapped in bubble wrap. Wow. Nothing was done to it. And the kit came from England, and it was a Seneca, and there was 3 of them shipped to the United States. Nobody figured out how to put it on a Fiero chassis, and so they cut them up except for the one that I got. And in order to put the body on the frame, you have to tip the body straight up in the air and catch it in the back, and then have people standing on each side and spread the body in order to get it over the Fiero chassis. And I have the only one that's in America. Wow. This company was actually sued by Lamborghini because it's an exact replica size of it.
That's impressive. Wow. That's cool.
The neatest part about it is all this is done in my garage as a hobby. I don't have a business or anything like that. And over the years, I built 3 Fiero convertibles and a 32-foot Fiero limousine.
That's impressive. That is very impressive. out of all the 120, 130 that you've owned, you know, the blue GT, the Knight Rider car, the black Lambo, what would you say is your baby? You're the one that you just admire and adore the most?
My blue GT. It's completely stock, all original, and I drive it to shows. It's not one. The only time it gets trailered is when I bring it to the Dells, and that's because I'm bringing all this stuff for the car show. And so I don't have enough room in a Fiero to haul everything up. So otherwise, I drive it to Iowa, to Fiero Ram. I drove it to Minnesota, to Michigan. I love to drive the Fieros.
They are a nice car to drive, and a lot of people just don't understand that they're. I'll say it. I mean, for me, it's comfortable, and it's just one of those cars that it fits, and it fits the person driving it, and the longer you drive it, the more comfortable you get with it, the more relaxed you get in it as well.
Yeah, yes, I agree 1,000%. Over the years, you've learned tricks of the trade, I guess is the easy way to explain it, because there were no cup holders or anything, and I didn't want to add stuff to a stock Fiero,
Right.
Kind of that's why I had the Night Rider and the Lambo and the other project cars, so I wouldn't touch the blue car. You know, if I had the urge to work on a Fiero, I had something else to work on.
Mhm.
And all I did was keep the blue one clean. And for shows and for cruising, we do our spring run, the Dells run, our fall color cruise, all of these things, and I use the blue car.
It is good to have something that, you know, still represents what the Fiero was meant to be. I know a lot of people like to customize them, modify them, engine swap them, and stuff like that. But like you said, you have, and you've had the other toys that you could do that to, that you could tinker with and play with, but there was the one that you just did not want to touch, and you wanted to keep it as original and authentic as possible. And there's something to be said about that too, because you know, it still has the nostalgia of what the car again was meant to be for people.
Yeah. When I first started this, I thought because they discontinued the car, I had to get as much parts as I could for the Pontiac Fiero. And so I would buy up lots of parts, brand new. I have so many brand new parts here. GT taillights, the quarter glass windows. These are all OEM brand new in the box yet. The ground effects. I mean, there's just tons of it that I thought if I didn't buy them, they'd go by the wayside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I have all these parts sitting here.
So you've found your love for the car. You've have had the car, many Fieros over the years. You drove them. You played with them. What made you want to start the infamous and famous Dells run?
Okay. In 1990, I went to the FOCA Nationals and met Phil and Gloria. And this is when our car club first started. And when I was there, I talked with Gloria, and she told me, if you're going to start a car club, if you want it to be successful, do what you want to do. And 95% of your membership will love doing it. And the other 5% you'll never make happy, so don't worry about it. And I thought, okay. And so I met Pete Groves from Minnesota, and we kept in contact. And in 1992, I called up Pete and I says, hey, you want to get the two clubs together and we can meet somewhere and do pizza or something like that. And he said, that's a cool idea. And out of the clear blue sky, I says, well, why don't we meet in the Dells, which was approximately halfway between him and me. And so that's what we did for a pizza run. Went there on a Saturday, went out to eat. And after I talked with him, I started thinking about it. And I talked to my son, and we hit every car club in southeastern Wisconsin, the Buick Club, the Opel Club, Corvette Club, and went to their meetings and took notes. I told Johnny to take a notepad and write down your thoughts while the meeting's going on. And then when we came home, we talked about it, and they had so many rules and regulations, and what you could tell. Now, I might be saying something to offend somebody, but there were cliques where if you didn't belong to that clique, you would never win at a car show.
Mm-hmm.
So we took all them notes, and I like this. Oh, this, no, there's no way we're doing this one. And after all the things were said and done, we came up with 2 bylaws for our car club, which was have a Fiero and have fun. And so I called Pete up and I says, you know what? We came up with an idea, and I want to run it past you. When we come there for pizza, we're going to have a mini car show. And one out of every 2 cars comes home with a trophy. And he thought it was a cool idea. So that's how the first Dells run came about. And it just blossomed from there because my way of thinking was there's tons of shows out that you can get your car judged. But we want to have fun with the cars. So let's have fun with the car, drive them around, go out to eat, do cruises. And yeah, we'll have a car show where one out of every 2 cars goes home with an award. And then to add the cream of the crop to it, I says, let's have the people that drive the cars vote on the cars so nobody can come back and yell at us because we're biased or whatever, you know? And so I made sure that I came up with a judging system that we felt was fair to everybody. That way there, nobody could say that the Wisconsin people win awards because they're in a clique. And everybody got to vote. And if you complained about the results, you had to complain to the people that were in your class because they're the ones who picked you. And that eliminated. And then I went one step further and I said, let's do the awards on Sunday so everybody can have fun. Because usually the car show you go there, sit there all day long. They give you an award and you go home. Well, the excitement is there and then you cut it off. So I said, if we do the awards on Sunday, everybody can carry that excitement through Saturday night. And that's how we started doing the Sunday awards. The first time we went there was just a Saturday and Sunday. And then everybody kept saying, let's do it some more, you know? Okay, we'll extend it, you know? And it ended up now it's 4 days. We've had people that would text me and say, why don't you do it longer? And I'm going like, hello? People have to work, you know? But yeah, and we've had cars from all across the United States come in.
Yeah.
To a fun event, you know?
It is. It is. Has it always been at Chula?
No, the first year we were at High Top, I think was the name of the hotel. We had 22 cars there, and the next year it just jumped, and I think we had like 50 cars. Well, then 92 and 93 we had at High Top, and then we moved to Copacabana, which is in the Dells, and we ended up with like 135 cars at that one. And it just kept blossoming. Phil and Gloria from FOCA came in from California in a motorhome to be at the show.
Wow. That's
And most of this stuff was word of mouth, you know. People would come to the show and see that there was no clique. Everybody would talk to everybody about their cars and what they've done on them. You got to see so many ideas from so many different people about what they thought would be neat in their Fiero.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that it would grow the way it has over the years?
No. I thought, yeah, we'll do this for a couple of years and then we'll move on. And every year, everybody's saying, how's the planning for the Dells run going? Well, what do you mean? We're doing it again? Oh, yeah. And I have to thank all of my club members. I have so many volunteers that help out on the event. And it's not a 4-day event for us. We talk about it at every meeting, and it's a continual thing year round. I'm working on it the day after the Dells, and that's Jim Hallman's fault because he emails me right away and he wants all of the winners from the Dells. I give him a breakdown of who won in each class, so you could put it into the FOCA magazine. So that's kind of how it started and how it's progressed. And we've had off years and stuff, but mainly it's an up event.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I learned with the other car clubs, like the GTO club here, they talked about how much money they had in their club bank account. You have to have this money. And again, my way of thinking is off the wall. I says, all we need is enough money to pay the bills. If there's any money left over, we throw a party like a picnic or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would use up the money and our bank account would go down to like $100 until next bill's account. And that way there was no anybody saying anything like, oh yeah, I'm hoarding the money. Because it's really weird. A gentleman from Minnesota, his name was Rick Balthazar, set up our car club bank account.
Mm-hmm.
So you can put money in, but nobody can take money out. Okay, so nobody can write checks except me or Johnny. And Johnny is always doing something, so I only write checks when it's time to do the deals. Otherwise the money sits there, and like I said, $100, $200 in there until everybody starts sending in their registration for the Dells.
Yep.
And it builds up. And there's a lot of the stuff that has to be paid up front, if that's a way of putting it, before the show. So the pre-registration, if it's low, I put my money into it so that I can pay the bills. And then when I get to the Dells, people sign up and everything gets taken care of then,
Yep.
Because I keep an account of how much I spend in that. But yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
and we started at
I was gonna say
we started at Chula. Okay, you go.
No, I was just gonna say I think it's every 50% of the class goes home with an award. The events that go on during the weekend, I mean, there's so many where it's like you physically have to pick and choose where you go to. And then, the show on Saturday is just magnificent. It's fun. Everybody knows everybody too. Even new people that come up, it's like they're brought into the Dells Run family right away. And then you got the cruise, and then again, even at the awards, I mean, everybody is, it's like even the people who have an inkling in their head that, oh, I'm not going to win, but you know what, I'm still going to go to the awards, and oh, holy crap, I won. So it's just it's a great weekend. And I mean, you do put a lot of time into it. And even at the award ceremony, you're talking about the show that's going to happen the following year, and you already have the dates and everything. So, working on it, basically 365, that's impressive. I mean, getting everything set up, and
when I do this stuff, it's because I love the car, and more than loving the car, I love all the people that come to the show. I can tell you a quick story about one of the people came in from Minnesota. They had an Indy pace car, and if they put the Chrysler wheels on the car to make it look like the Indy pace car with the circle holes in it, instead of leaving the stock wheels on it. Well, in our registration, it says if you put on custom wheels, different rims on your car, you can't be in the stock class. Well, this person got all upset with, and I really felt bad that they were that upset. I says, no, I'm putting you into a custom class. How can I go into a custom class? These cars are beautiful for custom. I says, trust me, if you went into stock, the stock cars that are in there, the people will not vote for your car because it's not stock.
Mm-hmm.
And that person ended up with an award on Sunday in the custom class. And it just showed by us making those decisions for people that were in doubt, they still had a shot to win, you know?
Absolutely.
And because of the way our voting is, where it's 1 out of every 2 cars, if there were 11 cars in the class, I'd give out 6 trophies instead of 5, and the heck with the extra one, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was never, how do I put it? Never skimped on awards. Let's put it that way. We want to give out as many awards. The worst thing that I can think of is that you're cleaning your car and you have the anticipation of going to a car show and you're all excited about your car. You park it there, it's nice and clean, and you are proud of it. And you don't hear nothing from anybody and you don't get an award. And the time and effort you put into it, you really feel hurt. And I didn't want that feeling for people when they came to the Dells. And I think over the years it showed.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick before we get into like the themes and stuff that you have associated with the show, I want to say one of probably the most interesting things that I've seen is, you know, just the uniqueness of the cars, some of the cars that have come to the Dells. But my first show was 98. And just as time has gone and kids have come into our life and so in sports and stuff, and you know that, it gets a little bit harder to get everybody packed up and get up to the Dells run because, you know, you got to, you know, get the Fiero up there, but then you also got the family up there. So now you're traveling with 2 cars. But the interesting thing is the growth and change of Chula. The first time I went in 98, we were in, so it wasn't the cabins. It was like it was on the left side of the resort side. It was kind of like the old style kind of hotel setup that they had. And then we stayed in the cabin.
Yeah, in the south parking lot you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah. Kind of like down the hill. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, the first time I went there to look at it, and the reason that we went to Chula was because we had so many cars at Copacabana, and it was so hard to get out onto Highway 12. And I said, well, somebody's going to have an accident, you know? When we came out for the cruise, one of our members said, you'll just park in the right lane to block traffic so we could get the Fieros out. And I called the police department. I says, we're coming out for a cruise and we'd like you to direct the traffic. He says, you can't stop traffic on Highway 12. And I went, well, we're going to do it. And as soon as he pulled out, the police came and then stopped traffic and let us all come out. And I was standing by the officer and he says, they must be going in another thing and coming back out, driving in a circle, because I've never seen this many Fieros. And that's why we went to Chula, because we were off the beaten path. People could get in and out without anybody worrying about getting in an accident, you know?
Yeah. And you know, that I will say that was probably one of, when coming up in 98, it was my grandfather and I, and he was not a short, slim guy. He was tall and he had some, you know, muscle and stuff to him. And the first thing that impressed both of us, because we came in through downtown Dells, is the curvy road and just kind of zigzagging through. And then as you come up and out of the forest and everything like that, then you see Chula Vista. And that was probably the most impressive that I've been going to a show out of the state. And that was basically, I think it was, I went to Fiorama was my very first show in 97. And right after that, in 98 was when we came up to the Dells. So, And I probably for the next 5, 10 years after that, I was there every year and just loved that drive and coming up into the resort.
Yeah. And I've had so many people say, when are they going to fix River Road? Because it's so bumpy. And I talked with the owners of Chula, and they work with the city of the Dells, and they said they won't fix it because they're scared people will start racing up and down that road. And so they're just doing pothole repair. And that's why a lot of people come in on Highway 13 now.
They come in the easy way, but that nothing beats that downhill curvy and then coming up, and it's just it's a great way to go and start your weekend. Just that drive here.
Yeah, and you hear so many people that have never been to the Dells. They don't know what to expect, and so like going back to that anticipation, they're all excited about coming, and I want them to have more than just, okay, I'm here. What do we do? Have fun with doing it.
Absolutely. So what made you kind of start thinking of like themes? You've had pirate themes. You've had many. Most recently, you've had many themes over the past couple of years, and I think the one that I think stood out the most with everybody was with the pirates, and they're finding the treasure and the treasure chest awards and stuff like that. I mean that's impressive.
Everybody thinks that I'm crazy because I start thinking about the Dells right after the Dells, and I look at different things, and it might sound crazy, but I might be watching something on TV and a commercial will come on with Pirates Cove was one of them. I thought, oh, this would be neat if we did something like that. So then I take that thought and I write my notes down. Okay, I was looking at this and pirate stuff. What do we can do with pirate stuff? And then I talk with a couple of our members here and get their feedback. And so what we try and do is I'll come up with an idea and I'll bounce it off people to get the negative side of it. Like, oh no, this won't work because of this or that. And then I'll switch it up until I come up with one that's refined. This will work. Now, how do we pull it off? And if you ever looked at the front of our shirts, it has the laced wheel of a Fiero. It says best in the Midwest, and there's wrenches underneath there. Well, I came up with the idea, and to get your name on the shirt, your club, like N.I.F.E or Minnesota Fieros Forever, they have to do something at the show, put on some type of an event, so that people that come up there can have something to do. And so I'll come up with these crazy ideas, and I'll give you one good one that people will laugh at. Kevin Lindeman from Minnesota, he came up with Fiero Bingo. And I thought, this is a neat idea. And so he came up there, and the club set up everything, and he asked if he could use the registration room to play bingo. And I said, sure, there's no problem. So you paid $5 for a bingo card, and it played 5 games. And there was 5 different winners. And the first one was 4 corners. Well, he started calling off parts of the Fiero, like let's just say left headlight. If you had that on your card, you put an X in it. And it started with 4 corners, and after he called the 4th one, everybody yelled bingo. And he says, what do you mean? And everybody had the same thing. What he did was make the bingo card out and then just ran copies of it. And so everybody had the same identical bingo card. And he says, don't worry, I'll take care of it. So he leaves the room, and everybody's talking and laughing, having a good time. He comes back, passes out all new cards to everybody. We start again. When you got to the 4th corner, everybody yells bingo. All he did was change it up and make copies again. It was so neat that everybody had such a great time. And then he says, Tom, you got to help me out. And so then we did Fiero trivia and gave out awards.
Nice.
I talked with Jim early on, and we had sponsors that would donate stuff
Mhm.
for the car show. So I would send out sponsored letters telling them about the show and everything like that, and telling them they can come up. There's room. There's no charge for them to display and sell whatever they're going to sell. And we'd get a lot of different things for the goodie bag. And so one of the things, now this is on me, I never wanted to bring this stuff home. So we would load up the goodie bags with all kinds of stuff. And you've been at the shows. When it's getting close to the end of the show, I would ask ridiculous questions to people. They'd walk by and I'll say, "What color is that Fiero?" They say, "Red. You're a winner." You know, and give them some, just so I didn't have to take it all home, you know?
Yep.
And so all of these things were for fun. So when I thought about different things, I started with the theme, and I would come up with a different theme every year. Let's do this for the fanatics participation. Even though we were the sponsors of the show and we got everything together for the car show itself, I thought it'd be neat if we participated with people doing things. So we took it to the next level, like with that treasure hunt, you know, and we've done so many different things over the years. I can give you a little preview. This year, back by popular demand, is Goofy Golf. Now,
Nice.
everybody played miniature golf at one time or another, but the Prezz comes up with the weird stuff. And so it'll be all original, that you have to follow the instructions that I give you when you golf. And one of the things that I try to come up with is a timeline, how much time you're going to spend. So nobody usually when you go to a miniature golf, everybody's on hole one.
Yep.
And you have to wait till all these people, well, let's eliminate that. So each team will start on a different hole and start golfing. So people are crisscrossing through there. And now you're meeting more of the people that came out to have fun.
That's awesome.
And that's what I wanted to do. And another time I took that Fiero bingo to another level. And Kevin says, I'm the only one who could sell people a blank bingo card, because I took it the complete opposite of what he did, you know? So I had a blank card, and it was the same principle of $5, 5 games. But you had to go out and talk to the people in the parking lot and see if they were going to play bingo. If they were, you had them sign your name. Well, when I sold the cards, you had to sign your name, and that's what, instead of a B1, it'd be Mike Croyer. If you have Mike Croyer on your card, you can X it off. And that way people got to meet other people, because they had to talk to them, you know? And so now you started bringing the Fiero people into the family fold. Everybody got to know each other. And that was the neatest part, is people came in. I had people come in from Illinois, first time at the show, and okay, I'm running the show. I'm sitting there with my wife and my son, and they were looking for a place to sit down and eat. I go, sit here. It's not like I put myself on a pedestal above everybody. I'm right here having fun with everybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they said they couldn't believe how friendly everybody was, you know?
Exactly. And, you know, when I started going in 98, and that was my first time, I didn't know what was going on. I want to say probably almost everybody came up to me at some point and just kind of walked me through things and introduced themselves. And, you know, it was overwhelming, but it made you want to come back the following year and the year after that and the year after that, because those relationships just kept growing with everybody there. And when you would come back, you're like, oh, you came back, you must like the show. We didn't scare you away.
Yeah, I think the neatest part is the shows after the Dells. We're the first show at the beginning of the show circuit for summer. And so when you go to the next show, you meet the people that were at the Dells, and you already had a bonding with them.
Exactly.
You know, so now that carries to the other shows, and it could be a judge show, didn't matter. You were there to have fun, you know?
Absolutely.
That's the neatest part. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a little bit more about the show itself. So people started arriving, what, Wednesday, Thursday?
I had, again, this is me being crazy. When I first started the Dells run, our rates were something like $69 a night at Chula Vista, which was unheard of. And so I worked with Frank Kaminsky, who was the owner of Chula, and his son Mike and Jeff. And I talked with them about getting the people to come in early and staying after the show instead of just leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked out a deal that you could come in on Tuesday, the day after Memorial, and stay all the way to the following Monday with the Fiero rates.
Nice.
So if it was $69, that's all you paid. And so I had people coming in from Florida and New York on Tuesday and Wednesday. I go up there on Wednesday to set up the registration room and to kind of relax before having to work.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way of putting it. And there's people there already. And that's how that Thursday event came about was, okay, let's do something with the people who came in early. Because usually the people that came in early were from out of state. So they didn't know anything about the Dells, where to go, what to do. And I said, well, come on along with us. We're going to go over here and eat. And we're going to do this, you know. And so we started setting up an event on Thursday and to bring in all those people and show them that, yeah, we're starting here on Thursday. It's a 4-day event, but the car show is only 4 hours long. The rest of the time, let's have fun, you know? And it's been turning out pretty good.
I would say so. And, you know, you've had many events on Fridays. You had the Friday breakfast, the Friday dinners. I think the first couple of years that I was going up there, there was the cruises to the Warshire Winery, which was fantastic. Going through, and there we had some things up in Baraboo, and just the Friday events. The bug, was it the how many bugs can you?
Bug hunt we had?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And then there was the scavenger hunts, and I mean, the list is endless when it comes to just remembering just some of the events on Fridays and stuff like that. But yeah, and then you know the show on Sunday or Saturday. What run through some of the processes of getting the show going on Saturday. You know, getting the parking and all that stuff.
I get up at 6:00 on Saturday morning. And I have volunteers that meet me out in the parking lot, and we have to mark. Now, see, I can't do anything with the parking lot ahead of time because I don't know how many cars we're going to have in each class, because it varies from year to year. And so I have to wait till we close registration on Friday to get our best guess of how many cars we're going to have in each class. And so I have volunteers that meet me out there, and we take and mark the parking lot based off of how many cars we know are going to be in that class, and leave a couple spots open for latecomers, people that register on Saturday, which we do get a lot of the latecomers, you know. And so we start probably as soon as it gets light out. I usually go and eat something, and usually that's by myself. I don't go with a whole mess of people. Usually it's a light breakfast. And then I meet everybody. I got a put everything up, the tent that's out there, my truck with all of the stuff in it, I park out there out of the way and make sure that the music guy has his spot and make sure the sprinklers are turned off, the wiring's out there, all those type of things early in the morning. Then I got to open up registration and go back inside. So the volunteers are out there getting the rest of the stuff done, and telling all the people where the free car washes to clean up your car and detail it, that type of stuff. So they start probably 8:00. They're out there working. I go eat. Yeah, probably about 8:00, 7:30, 8:00. They're out in the parking lot. And these are mostly members from our club that says, yeah, I'll help out parking cars and that. And so we have my son, we call him the keeper of the gate. You have to have your registration card in order to get past him. And he'll direct you to the next person and they'll park you so that you have help getting parked. And one of the things we really pushed, because I've been to car shows where you park your car, get it all clean, and they put a car next to you and the guy's spraying all kinds of stuff and cleaning his car in the show area. So we wanted all of that done before you got in there so that your car set, the car next to you is not going to make a mess on your car,
Yeah.
And
well,
so that kind of helps out with,
I was going to say, it also helps out where then you don't have to worry about it. You can park your car, get it set up, and go have fun and see what, the other cars show up and all that stuff. You don't have to, I've seen some people spend hours sitting there cleaning their car, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh, I got to go vote. And then it's like, boom, the show's done. It's like with this one, it's like, I 100% agree. Clean it before you get in, and then it gives you more time to walk around and talk with people.
the real tall water slides that they have outdoor water park there?
Yep.
Okay, Pete Groves and I were in the water park, and this was on like a Friday. And we looked down and we saw all these people cleaning their cars. And I said, remember when we used to do that? And he says, yeah. I says, now we're up here playing like we're supposed to. So we got to figure out a way for those people that are cleaning their cars to come up here and play. And so I looked at him and I says, hey, you want to go for titles? He says, what do you mean? I says, first one down the slide wins the other person's car. Yeah, okay, let's go for titles. And it was fun. So then I started doing this event stuff so that you wouldn't come up there, clean your cars, park it, and do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So we have all these driving events to go out and have fun. And I would always tell people, yeah, it's going to rain Thursday or Friday just so that you don't mess with your car. We're going out. And we started that evening cruise. A lot of people that don't come up on Thursday miss out on a lot of fun because after golf this year, I'm taking everybody out to dinner at a place called Foxy's. And it's about 10-mile ride one way. And it's a bar and restaurant. And Thursday nights is taco night. So that's their specialty. But you could order hamburger, pizza, all kinds of stuff off the menu. But their specialty is tacos. Well, we never did tacos. So I said, okay, this will be fun. And we'll take the back roads down to it and then do an evening cruise after we get done. And it's become a tradition. This stuff starts out like, I want to stop because I have to go to the bathroom. Okay, there's a place to stop here. And everybody went there and thought this is the coolest idea that we took a break during the cruise, the evening cruise, to stop at Fin and Feather. And now it's become a tradition because everybody wants to stop there and catch a drink, and then we go continue seeing all the wildlife that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I pick the roads that I know they're going to be deer, and I'm up front, so I'll be the one that takes the hit if somebody jumps across the road. but I know where I see them all the time. And so then I slow down, and then with the walkie-talkies, I'm telling everybody, there's deer on the right side of the road, deer on the left side. So many people get to see that usually are from a city and don't get to go out in the wilderness, so to speak, a lot. And that's the neat part. And it's an evening cruise, and we get everybody back to Chula before it gets dark out. And then everybody goes into the parking lot. Oh, there's one thing I got to mention. I worked with the Minnesota people for years, and they have what we used to call the circle of shame in the parking lot in the evening.
Yeah.
And the reason we called it that is because they would always find somebody who overdrank, and girls would paint the guy's fingernails, toenails, and stuff like that. Well, now we're on our 4th generation of people coming to the car show. And so the original people that came there with their girlfriends now had kids who have kids who have kids, if that's the way to put it. And they're bringing them all to the show. So now it's called the Circle of Fame, because they actually have progressed over the years.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. Another one I could tell you, there's so many stories behind the scenes of people. One of the things, like I said, I don't really talk a lot about the show, but there's so many things that I would do behind the scenes. Like I come out and go, and there's a group of guys talking, and I would just stand there and listen, and I would remember this stuff. And I always say, yeah, everybody's out there having a great time, and I'm remembering this to bring up something later. And there was a group of people that came up to the Dells. They actually came to the first Dells in 1992. But at Chula, they were the couch tippers. So they would get up in the middle of the night, wander the halls, and wherever there was a couch, they'd tip it over. No damage to the couch enough. Chula and Mike Kaminsky actually put up security cameras to try and catch them, because nobody could figure out who they were. And they actually came up with little camera blockers with a smiley face. So they'd put it up there, take it down, and the couch is tipped. They did this for years, and Mike would say, "You know who they are. We just want to know who they are. I'll give them a free night stay," because it's so neat, and the whole staff is looking for this. Like, who are they? And I never, ever told them who the people were. And so till today, up there at Chula, it's a mystery. And that's just one of the behind the scenes things.
Mm-hmm.
I married a couple up there. I sent in online to become the preacher of Fieros. And a gentleman and his girlfriend from Minnesota, we were in the bar. And this is before they redid that bar area. So it was a big oval bar.
Mm-hmm.
And they had that flip down. Yeah, remember they had that flip down thing?
Yep.
Where the bartender could walk in and out from being inside. Anyways, they found out that I got a thing that says I'm the minister of Fieros and wanted me to marry him. And everybody was inebriated. And I said, okay, do you like him? She said, yeah. Do you like her? Yeah. I pronounced you man and wife. Just to let you know, it's only good for 24 hours. And you know, it's stuff like that. And another thing we did at that bar, I brought a Matchbox Fiero. And everybody sat at the bar and had drinks and stuff like that. And I would push the Fiero down the bar. Whoever it stopped in front of, they had to do a shot. And they could push it backwards or forward. And we'd run it around the bar. Well, we were drinking and drinking and drinking. And Mike came up to me and said, I need to talk to you, Tom. And I says, yeah, what's the problem? He says, "You guys drank us out of booze." I said, "What?" He says, "Your crowd emptied all of our booze. We have to go out and get some more." So you kind of tell them to calm down and don't worry about it. And I says, "Okay, but don't tell them that we ran out of booze." I said, "Hey, don't worry, Mike, I won't." And so I stood up. He's standing right next to me. I said, "Hey, everybody shut up." And they all look at me, and I said, "You bunch of drunks drank all the booze at this bar. They have to go out on a run to get more." And he looks at me and says, "Thanks a lot, Tom." But over the years, we've all grown and cut down on the alcohol. But it's been unbelievable word of mouth. That's how it grew.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody would come up there, and then tell somebody else, "You got to go there." It's ridiculous. And at the end of the weekend, everybody had fun.
And, and just so many memories then that you have too when you head out.
Oh yeah. And I would have different people taking pictures, and after the show's all done, they'd send me the pictures on a CD-ROM. So I have pictures going all, and that's how I do that. Where am I? I have a contest going right now.
Yeah.
On Facebook of where am I? Different places that they've taken people out to eat. Now, before the show, I was supposed to go up there this Friday, but I have some other stuff I have to take care of, so I probably won't go up there till next week. I actually I'm going to Foxy's to make sure the food is good, and if it's not, I'm that forward to say like, "Oh, this is awful," So I'm going to test it ahead of time. And one of the things that I tried to push is to have a place to eat where a person who's 18 years old comes up there with his girlfriend, doesn't have a ton of money. I want to make sure they'll be able to come out with us and eat. So I would find places like a steak dinner for $9.95.
Yeah.
I would, because I've been going up there so long, know where all the locals go and have a lot of people telling me, "Try this place, try that place." And I would go up there with my son, Jeff, and we'd actually go there to see what it's like. And over the years, we've rejected a lot of places because it wasn't what we thought it would be, But most of the time, most of the restaurants, now I'm not talking about the tourist restaurants that are in the Dells. I'm talking about cruise out someplace,
Yeah.
And so then when I talked with Jim, and we were talking about that wrench on the front of the shirt, of coming up with something. Well, the activity group in Illinois would come up with their game plan. And I would tell Jim, "Send it to me so I know what your game plan is." So this Friday, not this Friday, the Friday of the Dells, the 31st, I think I'm correct. The Illinois chapter is going to be taking everybody on a car cruise, Cave of the Mounds in Wisconsin. So they have that set up. And I'm supposed to find out where everybody's going out to eat. And this will be the first year. Usually I don't get the information until it's really close to the Dells. I'm pushing everybody to get me their information so I can put the itinerary together. Then I'll post it on the Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody will know times and stuff like that and what's the game plan, before they even get there. And then they can plan ahead of time to get there a little earlier to have fun,
Yeah, and they don't have to worry about it, and they kind of have their schedule already set and ready to go.
Yeah, and then we put it on in every goodie bag so that most people get the goodie bag and they toss it in their luggage, and that's where it sits for the weekend until they get home. "Oh, here's the registration." And we put it out at the front counter where you register. And you can tell everybody, I am 100% positive that you don't have to worry about getting a room card. Like we had issues last year with the rooms. They had gotten some problems with Wyndham, And so they had people who had to let you in your rooms. That's all been taken care of.
Nice.
And so we were able to keep the rates again the same for this year, which is unbelievable. I have people saying, how can I get the rates so low when all the hotels are selling for $250 a night? And ours, I think, are $99. Plus, we don't have to pay any fees at all for any of the water park stuff or anything, you know?
Well,
So,
I mean, look
it's a good
how
rate.
long you've been bringing people there too. I mean, it's a, consistent year after year, and you always
Yeah.
have the large number too. So, I mean, it's not
Mhm.
like you're only, having like one or two room blocks. So, I mean, you bring, 40, 50, 60, 70, people, families and stuff to the
Yep.
Dells too.
Yeah. And I try, again, thinking of the 18-year-old with his girlfriend. I'm not saying that they stay in the same room, but make the room rates of something that they can afford.
Exactly.
Not like, oh, I can only come in on Saturday because I can't stay there, you know. But the neat part about it is, over the years, I have people who come up in their Fieros and camp. They bring a tent along and they camp at Holiday Shores or one of the other campgrounds, and then come and do all the events, you know. So
That's
it's been a wide range of different people coming from different parts, and people staying at other hotels, you know. And they found out that they like the wilderness, so they stay at Wilderness and come over to Chula, you know. And we don't care. It's not like it's mandatory, you know.
right.
We set it up where we figure is the easiest in and out. And like you said, that ride up that winding road with all of that sandstone rock is so neat. And that's why I always look for cruises that way, where you see that. And it always ends up being fun then, you know?
Absolutely. So now tell us a little bit more about so we've gone through the show and everybody's
All right.
kind of winding down. You've put on what the actual, Dells run. So people think of the show as the Dells run, but you have a unique cruise that you do after the show that's the Dells run, which is, well, explain what that is. I mean, it is very cool to do.
Okay.
It's
All right.
a sight to see too.
One of the first couple of years, we wanted everybody that comes to that show is proud of their car. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. So I want them to be able to show off their car to other people. And so I came up with this Dells Run. And when I sat down and looked at it, I told my son, okay, doing a left-hand turn is hard when you have a group of cars. So we got to do a run that you only do right-hand turns. So, okay, let's figure this out. And the year that we had 135 Fieros there, we were at Copacabana and we took a right-hand turn and we're leaving the Dells on Highway 12 all the way down to the dog track. And I says, how are we going to get across Highway 12 with all these cars? They have a frontage road there. When you first get off the freeway and stuff, we'll pull off on that frontage road. So bunch them up. So what I did when I led, instead of doing like 40 or 45 miles an hour, I would do 30. So now I kept all the cars bunched up and we pulled off on that frontage road. And I told Johnny, when I take off, you get the cars to go. Now, Johnny was out of his car because he was the last car.
Mm-hmm.
And so he moved his car up front. I said, you get them cars to go across Highway 12. So I pulled my Night Rider car sideways across Highway 12 and told them to go. So everybody's going. And Johnny's leading them down back to go downtown. And we were going to meet up at Frontier, which was right on the corner of 13 and 12. It's all right. The police came and says, "What are you doing?" I said, "My car won't start." And while we're talking, and it was a 4-speed, I never put my foot in on the clutch. I just turned the key. I said, "See, it won't start." And he said, "You got 2 minutes to get this thing going, or I'm going to call a tow truck." I said, "Well, I'll try it." And all the while, Fieros are going by. And the lights are on from the cops and everything. And when the last car went by, I put my foot in on the clutch. Hey, it started up. And I took off. We got down to Frontier, and all the Fieros are in the parking lot there. And this is right by Mexicali Rose, where you go into downtown. And so I told Johnny, I says, "You go up in front, and we'll run 2 abreast, 2 lanes, because that's all it is downtown, and we'll jam up the whole downtown." I says, "And then you turn left, and I'll turn right, and we'll come back around, and now we have Fieros crisscrossing each other, and just jam up the downtown." Okay, this is our game plan. All of a sudden, the 3 squad cars pull up, and I went back to my car, and he come up to Johnny, and he says, "What are you doing in here?" "What are you talking about?" "He said, all these cars." And he turned around. So I didn't know those cars were there. Who's in charge of this? The Johnny, being of astute mind and body, "Oh, it's the car way at the end," lays them onto me. And the cops came down by me, and he says, "You cannot do this." "What are you talking about?" "Running all these cars downtown." I says, "You're telling me that you won't let cars into your downtown? What about those cars right there at the stop sign? They're going downtown. That's different." And they were trying to come up with a reason why we shouldn't do it. And I says, "Well, I can't stop these people from driving. They're going to drive wherever they want."
Right.
I says, "I can't help it if they follow me." I says, "But I'm the end car." And Johnny was already taking off, and we told everybody 2 abreast. And so we took off from there and went into town, and the bridge was full of Fieros. The Highway 12 was full of Fieros, and we had the downtown full of Fieros. And it just became a cluster. Everybody was honking their horns, having fun. People that were downtown, and if you've never been to the Dells in the evening, it's packed with people. And so everybody's seeing our cars and coming out into the street, waving and, cool car, thumbs up and everything. And we just jammed up the whole downtown. Then we had to go with the right-hand turns, because left-hand turns definitely made a mess of everything. So we had Fieros all over the place. It was awesome. And one of our members another year built a Fiero police car. I don't know if you've seen it up there.
Yeah.
Where
right?
His name was Rod Winter.
Oh, okay.
And this is before I towed my car up. So I had the Night Rider car, and you couldn't see out the right-hand side at all. I had all of the T-shirts in there, and trophies filled up the whole right side of the car. He had stuff in his, and he had a luggage rack on top that he put yellow lights on. And it said Fiero Police, official Fiero Police. And he actually took a plexiglass and put it down the middle of the Fiero. So you had a prisoner area and driver area, and had the whole outfit for security guard.
Nice.
And so we're heading up to the Dells, and we got just before Highway 12, and we're riding in the left-hand lane, and I'm following them with my car. And I see the police lights come on behind me. And I said, "Oh, yeah, so I'm going to get off on Highway 12 by Kalahari, and I'll stop on the ramp." So I'm thinking to myself, I can't stop on the ramp because somebody's going to hit me. And the guy had the siren on and the lights flashing and everything, and he's right behind me. So I start going down the ramp, and I felt like, I don't know. All of a sudden, there's a squad car at the bottom of the ramp on Highway 12. And I thought, well, I can't stop here. I'll pull on the frontage road. So I pull on the frontage road, and a squad car comes the other way. So I had 3 police cars all around my car. And I stopped. The first thing out of that police officer's mouth was, I am going to look good in this Fiero. I went, uh-oh. And they wrote me a ticket for following too close to a police car. $175 it would cost me. I says, it's a Fiero. No, it wasn't. We had people out on the bridge on A, and they saw it, and you were following right behind a police car. I says, it's a Fiero. And I says, can I bring it to the police department, and then you'll cancel this ticket? If you have a Fiero police car, I want to see it. I said, okay. So I get the ticket, and I go to Chula, and there's Rod Winters. He says, what did they say? I said, I got a $175 ticket. I said, it's because they think you were a cop. I said, why didn't you stop? I wasn't going to stop. So we go to the police station and show them that, and they canceled the ticket. And he says, you better tell all those Fiero people we're going to be watching them because of people speeding. And I said, yeah, okay, we'll tell everybody. And we go back to Chula. Well, then that Dells run that we do through downtown, Johnny is riding with Rod Winter leading the cars. And we did all right-hand turns and came into town from the east side of town. And he's riding along, and the cop stops in the middle of the street. He says, you, pull it over. And so Johnny and Rod had to pull over, and all the Fieros went by him. And we get back to Chula, and I said, what happened? He says, he stopped us. He says, the sergeant wants to see that car. So it was neat. He even had a BB gun in the back window. You know, he had the brackets taped to the rear window of the Fiero and had a BB gun on there like he was a police car. This is before you had to worry about concealed carry and all that.
You know? Right.
But it was just another one of those stories from being at the Dells. And every year, somebody has a neat story, which is the best part. You know?
And again, that's what makes the memories too. I mean, it's a unique experience. If you know, again, kind of getting people involved with it, it's a unique experience that you have to do. And once you do it once, it's gonna keep going and going and going.
Yeah, we had a couple that came in from Nebraska and Edzards, and they would come up to go on the wine tours. And the neat part about the Dells run is we would give away so much stuff for store prizes and stuff like that, and goodie bags, and then people would buy car parts and that, and to see them try and pack it all in their Fiero on a Sunday to go head home is awesome. A lot of people take off and they miss the best part of everybody trying to load their cars up. And this couple from Nebraska would buy cases of wine, and his wife would have to sit with the cases under her legs in the passenger side where they didn't have no room to move, and they're driving all the way to Nebraska. And then I told them, you know, you could ship that stuff. Oh no, she needs it right away. So it's been really a life-changing experience. And I have to say that my wife lets me come out and play with the Fieros. When we first came there, I would be working all the time. It wasn't like a vacation it's a vacation for you and your family. Mm-hmm. But me and my family worked, you know. And she says, well, it isn't any fun because you're always gone doing something. I said, well, that's just the way it is, you know. And so over the years, it's evolved into, well, let me go out and have some fun too with everybody. Because I never got to do the cruises on Friday. I was doing other things, you know, getting organized and stuff. So now we cut down the hours of registration, and it's on the itinerary when we're going to be open, so that I don't have to sit there and wait for somebody to come in to register. Here's when we're open. Come and visit us when we're open. Otherwise, let's go have fun, you know? And now I get her whole family coming up there. I rent 4 rooms. Back in '98, we had the registration in little cabins that were right outside the bar. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
It was a 2 cabin. They were side by side and connected, and so they had like a wall that was corrugated. If they rented it out to 2 different families, they'd close that off. Well, I had so many people up there. That's where we stayed, and everybody went out to have a few. And I told them, I says, I don't care. Just so you know, 8 o'clock in the morning, all you people have to be out of here because this is my room and it's also registration. So I had to kick everybody out so that I could open registration.
The things that go on at the Dells.
You know, we talk about memories all the time, but the whole idea is to start new memories. Every year, when somebody comes up there, it's their first memory of the Dells, and they're starting their memory. Well, I want to be part of that new memory instead of remembering the good old days, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's the neat part.
Absolutely.
And it seems like every year, everybody's coming up with different things. Like N.I.F.E is doing that cruise to Cave in the Mountains.
Yep.
I'll give you another sneak peek. Minnesota's doing Name That Fluid.
Ooh, interesting.
Now, it could be oil, tranny fluid. It could also be moonshine, shot of booze. I have no idea. They always come up with awesome stuff. And so they're doing that this year. And we are going to have beanbag toss.
Nice.
Okay. This is the first time I'm going to sell you 2 beanbags for $5. If your beanbag lands on the board, you get a point. If it lands on the board and partly in the hole, you get 2 points. If it goes in the hole, you get 3 points. So the maximum you could have is 6 points. And we're going to do this over the weekend. And at the end, it's a 50-50 beanbag toss. So whoever wins will win half of the pot that was collected over the weekend.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah. I have Eldino Car Company. They have the boards right now. One is being painted the metallic blue like my car. The other one is a metallic red with our club logo on it and stuff like that, Fiero's on it.
Nice.
And so they will be, yeah, that'll be another first at the Dells. So I'm giving away a lot of the information of different things so that you can tell the people. Usually I don't do this, like I said.
It's always a first.
Everything is usually, yeah, this is a first for me because usually it's a surprise.
Hmm?
We wait till the end, and just like our shirts this year, this is the first time we're doing this. Everybody that pre-registers, I'm calling them back with their registration form to ask them what color shirt they want. We're doing 3 different colors this year.
Nice.
Because of the voting this year, presidential election, we figured it'd be neat to do our theme this year in red, white, and blue.
There you go.
So you can have a red shirt, a blue shirt, or a white shirt, which makes my artwork. I'm the one who designs the artwork every year for the Dells. And so it makes my artwork really hard to come up with the same artwork on different color shirts. So it works. So it'll be different. And and the other thing we're doing this year for people that I shouldn't be telling you all this neat stuff, but we're not doing trophies this year. We're doing medals, just like they do in the Olympics. All of our medals will be in silver with a red, white, and blue lanyard. So that's a first for the Dells also. We've never done those. We come up with all these different things and something different every year. so that it's not the same routine. Okay, yeah, we have a trophy that we're going to get at the Dells. But the weird part about this is that trophy is a coveted trophy. Everybody wants to win at the Dells.
Exactly.
I don't know why. Yeah, it's just something that's grown over the years, And so we try to make it neat and something that's exciting so that you carry that excitement all the way into the awards. Oh.
Speaking of awards, would you consider that even though it is an exciting day, it's a fun, day, do you also consider that a sad day? Because in essence, that's the show is done. The show's ending for the year. It's time to say goodbye.
Yeah. I get emotional at the awards because of that. The people I see, a lot of them I won't see till next year because they don't participate in other events. And a lot of times I'll go like to Minnesota. I'll go up to their show and I'll talk and they take us out to eat and we have a good time and everything. But that means I didn't get to see people in Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go the next year to Iowa, but that means I didn't get to see the people from Minnesota. And it's kind of like happy but sad for me. And I try not to make it sad. For everybody that knows me, it's like you're all family. And so it's hard to say goodbye for a whole year to see you next year. And there's so many things that happen during the year that you never know who's going to come back.
Right. Yeah.
So it is happy but sad, but I try to make it fun. And like I said, a lot of people miss out on the neat little stuff like people packing their car up. And for whatever reason, now you must have to agree with this, your clothes will grow over the weekend.
Oh yeah. I don't know how.
You have to try it.
Don't know why,
like,
but they do.
We've checked with everybody around Wisconsin Dells area, and they said it was the air. The fresh air at the Dells expands your clothes. Or maybe it's all the food you ate that expands your clothes. But when it's time to go, you have a hard time packing a suitcase to put in a Fiero. And we've learned everything has to be soft-sided in order to get it in. And you have to find every nook and cranny in the car in order to get your stuff in there. And then all the stuff you bought. Like when I go up there, I don't plan on buying anything. I plan on putting on a show. But somebody will come up and they say, hey, I got these Fiero parts. Okay, I'll take them. Okay, I'll take that. And I go home with more stuff than I came with, So
that always it always happens like that at Fiero shows. You don't expect to to bring anything home, and yet you bring home tons of more stuff than what you came up with.
Right. I can tell you another little note. The first time that we met the Illinois chapter, 5 of our cars from Wisconsin went down to a Pontiac show. I think it was called I forgot the name of the car club for the Pontiac GTOs, but the Fieros were in that car show, and we were at a car dealer. And I had the Night Rider car, and I'm sitting behind my car, and a blue Fiero pulls up. First time that I actually got to see a blue 87 Fiero. Out this guy comes, and I says, I want to buy your car. I'll give you my car and give you money for your car. And he says, no, I'm not selling it. I just bought it 2 days ago. Now, he wasn't in the car show. He was parked behind the cars, That was Rich Benetti. First time I met him was with his blue Fiero. And so I went in by the car dealership, and there's salespeople in there and everything selling cars. I says, is the parts department open? He says, yeah. So I go to the parts department. I said, do you have any Fiero stuff in there? And the guy says, yeah. I said, well, how much? And he said, well, maybe a shelf full. I said, I'll buy it all. And this is when I was buying everything because I thought it would go extinct.
Right.
You know? So I bought all brand new stuff, brand new in the box laced wheels, brand new in the box Beechwood interiors, brand new wings. And I start carrying this stuff out, and Paul Vargas from Illinois says, where'd you get that stuff? I said, inside there, in their parts department. And I go back and I start putting the stuff behind my car. And Johnny said, what are you going to do with all this? And I says, I don't know, we'll get it home somehow. He said, what are you going to do with that wing? I said, I'm going to take out the sunroof and put the wing in that way, and we'll put the sunroof in front. So I go back and I get all this stuff, and Paul comes out. He says, I can't believe you bought all that stuff. I says, well, you didn't ask me that, you know. And when I would go to other club shows, I'd always buy $20 worth of raffle tickets to support the club. And I win a toolbox with tools. And Johnny says, where are you going to put that? I says, you're going to be sitting with your head out the window because the toolbox has to sit on the seat. And that was the first time that we met the Illinois chapter. Took 5 cars down there, came home with 5 awards.
That's awesome.
And so our club, yeah. But it was another one of those memories that you know it's in the back of your head. And people would look at years later and say, like, yeah, I remember that time.
Yeah, there's just so many just memories that I mean, every God, I've been part of this community since '97, and it's like just all the stuff that the first time meeting people and all that stuff. And like I said, the very first show I went to was the second annual Fiorama, and it was, to me, overwhelming because that was the first time I've been to a show on my own. But then when I got to the Dells the following year, it just, everything changed, and I became more relaxed. And I don't know if just like being up there and surrounded by just so many people that in essence were, like the cars just like I did. And
yeah,
it's amazing how time flies too. So,
you know what the neat part is? If you go to the Dells and walk in the parking lot, a little known fact is every night I would go and walk the parking lot to look at the cars and to see so many people out there talking about their cars. You could talk to anybody, go up and say, hi, my name's Tom. And they would tell you everything about their car, how they did this, how they did that. And you'd see so many different little things. Well, this is neat. And this is before they had cell phones with cameras,
mm-hmm.
So you'd have to go back to your room, get a camera, and it takes lousy pictures at night and everything. But you wanted to get a picture of it, just the way they did things. And then, well, where did you get this? And they would tell you everything about their car. And then you'd walk 5 feet and start the thing all over again with the next person. It's so neat,
It is. And it's, sometimes
did you ever go to, you can
go ahead.
I learned that when I went to the FOCA Nationals, how people were so involved with their cars, but then again, it was judged.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a different atmosphere where we're relaxed and pushing to have fun. And yeah, we got the cars there. Like I always say, it's a 4-day event, but the car show is only 4 hours long. The rest of the time, let's have fun,
Exactly. All right. Well, as we wrap up here, a couple last questions here. Where do you see the show going now for the next many years? Is it as we start seeing the next younger generation of Fiero owners? Have you started seeing that kind of showing up at the Dells, the younger group now?
I'm surprised you asked me that question because it is happening right now. Like I said, we have the third and fourth generation of Fiero owners that the car's been passed down in the family. And one of their main goals is to come to the Dells. And this year, I have people coming in from Nebraska that never been to the Dells. I had talked with them over the phone. They've heard about it. They've never been there. They got to come. Well, this is cool. And they're a younger age group. I give you their names and everything, but I didn't get permission, so I won't. But that means that more younger people are getting involved with the Fiero. And not everybody is rich and can spend thousands of dollars on their car. They get it up and running. And that's why we started that daily driver class and project class, so that people could bring their daily driver. They don't like to clean the car. They love to drive it. Bring it up. There's a class for you,
Very cool.
It just so happens that they're in the custom class, so they've done stuff to their cars. I can't wait to see them,
Absolutely. And that's the nice thing too, is with the younger group, they have different ideas that they've shown with their cars too. And that maybe our generation didn't think of. And it's nice to see that younger group get involved, and some like to keep those cars stock, and some like to play with them and make them fast and customize them. So, and the Dells Run is a place to see all those unique cars. So,
and get all the information about them.
Exactly.
If somebody did a 3800 swap, they're willing to tell you where they went to get the different parts and stuff like that, and what they used to fix something, because a lot of the parts are no longer available. And that was one of the reasons for the 120 or 30 Fieros that we got over the years, is to get parts for people.
Yep.
I every time that I would take a car apart, this might sound stupid to people, I had a bucket, 5-gallon bucket, and I'd put the nuts and bolts in there, the screws. And those people who were doing a restore, I have their original screws that hold the tubs in, stuff like that, that you wouldn't think about, the little caps on the A pillar or B pillar where it covers up the screws and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All of that stuff that I kept over the years and sorted them all out. And when I'd come to Fiero Rama last year, I was selling stuff, and people would say, like, I can't believe you have this. And I says, yeah, if you need it, I got it, And a lot of times people, I give them my phone number, they call me up. I say, tell me what you need. I'll look for it and see if I have it. And 95% of the time I have that part they're looking for, which is neat. Like, I just got a email from Rodney Dickman, and he's working on a serpentine belt system for 84 through 88 4-cylinder. So he's in the process of developing it, and we are going to try and help him out with an engine so that he can have an engine to design it on.
Nice.
And that was just today. Yeah. So we're still people out there that are interested in helping the Fiero community,
Absolutely. So real quickly, just so everybody knows, this year's Dells Run starts on May 30th and runs through June 2nd. And the information can be found on your Facebook page, correct?
That's correct. And I'm going to put out the itinerary once I hear from the Illinois chapter on where they want to eat on Friday. Everything else is set to go, the last piece of the puzzle, and then I will have the itinerary done.
Awesome. All right. So everybody can be on the lookout for that. All right. So the big question, the final question of the night, I've been waiting to ask this because, again, I've known you guys for many years. Johnny has just been, every time I go up there, he always makes it a point to say hi and greet me and everything like that. And his memory of everything is just awesome. But first, I want to congratulate you on your grandson and your family because I think it's the coolest thing in the world. I am so jealous. But maybe not everybody knows, but Tom's grandson was drafted in the first round, number 16, correct? In the NBA?
No, number 19.
Number 19. See, I was off.
Yes.
To the Golden State Warriors. How did that make, as you and your family, how does that feel? I mean, my family was watching the draft and it was just the coolest thing. Like, I know them.
That is life changing. The only way I could put it is it's life changing. The draft was on June 22nd on a Thursday. We didn't find out about Brandon being drafted till that Tuesday when Johnny told me that he got a call from the NBA that Brandon has to go to New York. And meaning, okay, he's going to get drafted, but we have no idea about when or where.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a movie. That's the only way I could put it. It was like a movie because you never thought stuff would happen. The tickets came from the NBA for our plane ticket. Everything was set. When we got to New York, there was actually a person there holding up Pajemski sign to take us. And it was like, you got to be kidding me. I didn't know anything about the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything was boom, right in your face, right then and there. And what people saw on TV was only part of it. You know how we were talking with the Dells on how there's so much stuff in the background?
Yep.
That's just how it is with the NBA. They had gentlemen running around with cameras all over the place, and they would get it in their headset who the next pick was before we would know and before you would know. And so they'd be wandering around, and we're sitting at the table, and then when they called up and says, with the 19th pick of the 2023 draft, a Golden State Warriors pick Brandon Pajemski. Well, that was like, wow. All the cameras, excuse me if I'm getting emotional,
That's
right in your face. And now you realize it. And Brandon always told Johnny, his mom Barb, and Greg, his stepdad, and me, he only had one plan, to go to the NBA. Never had a plan B. Like, okay, if I don't get to the NBA, here's what I'm going to do. And I said, well, what's your plan B? I don't have one. I'm going to the NBA. And he kept saying that to me, and it came true. And then you had to learn so many different things that I never thought of. We had to go to school to learn what to say to people. And I thought, like, why would they be asking me anything? I'm not the one who's got drafted and going to California. But yet they told you, here's what you say. If anybody approaches you, you say this and walk away. And that was, I can't answer any of your questions right now. I have to talk to the family. And that was it. And when we went, now you might know it. I don't think a lot of people know about my health issues I had.
Mm-hmm.
But I had open heart surgery in February, and this was in June, so I'm on the recovery. And all of these things are happening, and I'm just so excited, don't know what to do, and I have to watch also that I don't get overexcited, if that's the way of putting it.
Yep.
And one thing came at you after another. And it was all little stuff. Like, we went after the draft. Now he is in not just him, we're all in the NBA family. So everything you do, the NBA is behind you 1,000% because he's in the NBA family. And so we went out, his agent rented a whole bar and restaurant right in Times Square.
Oh, wow.
Where the ball drops. Yeah. And we go there, and I don't know anybody, anything. I don't know what to do. And I walk in there, and Brandon's there. I give him a hug. And they assigned a person from the Golden State Warriors as his liaison and a person from the NBA so that nobody would bother him. He's under our protection, that type thing, you know. And 4 girls come up, talk to Brandon, and the person says, back off, he's with me. And I thought, what is this? I've never heard this, you know. And so it was just like a shock. Everything, the biggest thing that I had a problem with in New York, I had a stiff neck. I could not believe everybody there is so tall. I was there for the draft, and I'm like the midget. So I got a stiff neck looking up at everybody. But it was neat. And after that, now all this stuff took place Thursday and Friday morning. After the thing was done on TV, it was just a whirlwind that was going by. We got back to the hotel at like 2:30 in the morning, and they said, plane's leaving at 4. Well, now you got to pack up all your stuff. You didn't go to sleep. You didn't do nothing, you know? And what am I wearing? You know, it's all these things are going through your head. And who's going with who?
Right.
Because they only take the family out to California. I'm going home. Okay, all the tickets and everything are all arranged. You got to be downstairs at 5 o'clock or 4:30, and a van will pick you up and take you to the airport. Your tickets are already set up and blah, blah, blah. So I'm in coach coming back to Wisconsin. They're in an airplane with cubicles. Brandon's got a couch that opens into a bed if he wants to sleep, a table and chairs in the airplane.
Nice.
Is he got to be kidding me? And that was all arranged ahead of time for whoever gets drafted. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
So it wasn't set up for Brandon. It would be for anybody who got drafted. So it was so much different stuff so quick. And I'm going home and I'm exhausted, blah, blah, blah. And the first time I go out to California, it's like I'm part of the family, just like the Dells run.
Mm-hmm.
You were accepted into the Golden State Warriors. I met the head coach, his wife. You got to meet the players and their wives and kids. They actually threw a big party that we went to for just the players and their family so that Brandon got to meet the players and stuff. He did get to meet them, you know, like you go into the gym and you do all the kinds of stuff. But this was like the meet and greet type thing. And everybody is super personal. And you didn't think about it because you see them on TV. And you see these guys and they're playing and they're good. But when you see them in person, they're just like everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know if I got the reputation, oh, I'm the Prezz, and so I'm above everybody, but yet when you come in to meet me, I'm just as crazy as everybody else. And that's just how it was. And it's so neat. Like I said, it was life-changing. And he loves it.
Oh, yeah. He's having a hell of a season.
Yeah, he leads the NBA for all rookie guards in rebounds and in assists. And then I think he was like 3rd or 4th in something else. And he's number 1 in, now we're talking not the Golden State Warriors, we're talking the NBA, all the teams. Well, he's number 1 in taking charges.
Yeah, I mean he also had, even for, you know, the combine, he had a hell of a stance that even during that too. So, I mean, honestly, just by the way he's played, you know, with Illinois and then Santa Clara, and then, you know, now and then through the combine, it's like It does not surprise me that he's having a hell of a season that he's having right now.
Yeah, he is. And he leads the Warriors on his team with the plus minus. And for those who don't know what the plus minus is, anytime that he's on the floor with whoever, the veterans or all rookies or 3-year players, whatever, he leads the team in helping out the team when he's on the floor. He has like a 252 or something plus minus. The closest one on the team is Steph Curry with a 152. He's like 100 plus minus more than anybody on the team. And it's because he loves the game so much and he loves to do everything. I talk to him almost daily, not talk, but text back and forth because he's on the go doing something. And I'm always telling him, stay humble and have fun. And he says, I am. He loves the game of basketball. And he's doing good at it.
I was gonna say it shows too. So
yeah.
All right.
So that's your Brandon update.
Yes, thank you. I've been wanting to talk to you about that because just following that and just seeing the progression and everything and stuff that the way he's made his way through basketball and everything like that is just it's amazing. And it's like just to see that too. So
yeah. One of the other things that's weird, is the only way I could put it, is I'm not the face of basketball. But for whatever reason, I got my 2 seconds of fame on TV. And people that I don't know will come up to me and they'll, are you really his grandfather? And I'll say, yeah. And then they're on their phone calling somebody. You would not believe who I'm sitting next to. Brandon. And they know all about Brandon. And this is here in Wisconsin, so there's so many people that are following him. When they came into Milwaukee to play the Bucks, they had a whole section filled with Brandon followers. I think there was over 300 people there in that section just for Brandon. It's just weird.
It is. Yeah. It's enjoy it, and I am very jealous.
Well, if he comes up to the Dells, I have no idea yet, because he was talking that he might be able to be free and come up to say hi to everybody. Because he started coming up there when he was really small, back in 95, 6 or 7, somewhere in there,
Mm-hmm.
And everybody thought he was going to play baseball. He'd be up there tossing the ball all the time and smiling and running around. And we always took him up there. As many years as we've been going up there, we try to get my family up there, And it turned out now that he's so big that he went out to eat with his mom and dad in California, and they had to call security to block off part of the restaurant so that they could eat. There were so many people coming up asking for his autograph. And I thought, well, that can't be. And he came home, and one of the things that we do as a family is play miniature golf when he comes into town. And we always would say whoever loses has to buy at Culver's. And he was always a winner. He still is. I think he practiced it every day. Anyways, well, he always was taught there's only 2 types of people in the world, winners and losers. And if you're not a winner, you're a loser. There is no second place. So we're at Culver's, and we sat down, and people started coming up to ask for his autograph. And now it's sinking in, that, yeah, he is a star, and he's only a rookie.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
He's got a long way to go, too. Long to go.
Yeah, they talk about all this stuff, and believe it or not, and anybody who knows the Warriors knows Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green.
Yep.
They all hang together. And I said, what do you mean you hang together? Well, off of the court, they do things together. I said, like what? And he said, well, Steph rented a golf course. I said, what? Yeah, so we could go out. So 4 of them went out golfing, and so that nobody else would bother them or anything like that, you know. And I says, but you don't golf. This is regular golf. He says, yeah, but I caught on. I says, how long did it take? Oh, the 9th hole. I said, well, how many did you play? 9 holes. So they do a lot of stuff off the court together, and the whole team does that stuff. Like their team camaraderie is something to behold. It is like the Fiero group, you know, only they're in basketball. And you would think with the amount of money that these people are getting paid, that they would be snobs. Is that a way of putting it? It might be the wrong word, but they're not. They're just like regular people. They just are in the right place at the right time.
Yep.
You know, if you took basketball players back in the 60s and 70s, they didn't make money like this, you know? And it's just weird. But he's got good people behind him, so that there's nothing I could tell him like where to invest your money or anything like that, because I'm investing $1. You know, he's investing a lot more. So,
But
he's got the people. That's the weird part that I still haven't come to grips with. He has people. So if you're doing something, well, I got people for that. I'll talk to the people. I didn't know this, that they have rookie cards in basketball, just like baseball cards.
Yep.
And he got paid to take a picture of himself. Well, he didn't take it. They took it as professional. And I says, yeah. He says, yeah, but now I have to sign 3,000 cards. I went, what? So when we were out there, he had a table full of cards, rookie cards and specialty cards and stuff like that. And I still can't grasp how big the NBA is, but they had 10 cards he had to sign, and one of them was online for $5,000.
Wow.
I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I says, it's just unbelievable how everything is not dollars and cents. It's thousands of dollars that they're spend on stuff, you know?
Exactly.
And it's just unbelievable. So there's your Brandon update. I probably shouldn't have said any of that stuff.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me tonight. It's been a pleasure and just fun talking too. So
the last thing I can tell everybody is if you have any questions for me, email me at events@FieroFanatics.com. I have a separate email address for any questions about our event, and I'll be more than happy to answer it.
perfect.
Or you can message me on Facebook. I'm on there all the time, putting out stupid stuff like that. Where am I? And what's really weird is people actually remember different places we went out to eat. And I've made some really hard ones, and they found it where it was, you know.
I got stumped on the one with the with the trunk with the different locations.
The birch with the sign.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know, the biggest part about that is everything I've listed on there. Where am I? Fiero people went out to eat there. So that's one of the hints. It's been places that I've taken Fiero people out to eat. And most of the time, it was on a Thursday or Friday. You know, when we went out to eat or went with N.I.F.E out to eat. You know, some of them were real easy. If you looked at that, if people would go back and look at the Facebook page of that Bloody Mary, it was a meal for 4 people. Now, this is the most economical. $20 for that Bloody Mary It feeds 4 people. It had pancakes on there, bacon on there, and it was a virgin Bloody Mary, so you had your juices in the morning and everything. But that's like, if you had 4 people, that's $5 a person to eat.
Exactly. That's easy.
Yeah. Yep. So I have fun doing that stuff.
It
and I hopefully will continue,
Yeah. And it is a fun event, and it is a great time. So if somebody's debating on going, I tell them 100%, just go. Once you go the first time, you're going to keep going back.
Yeah. And that's from all different states.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just Illinois and Wisconsin and Minnesota, everybody comes and keeps coming back. Good one is Jerry and Judy Goodwin. They live in Indiana.
And you got the crew.
Yeah.
Yep.
Brandy Moss and Jesse Moss, they come up, and she makes our hard luck trophy every year, and brings it along. So people get involved. They like to get involved, and they don't have to, nothing's mandatory. Like when we're doing our events, we say this is a mandatory Fiero event. The only exception is if your Fiero's broke, or it's still in storage, or you don't have one, which means come out and have fun. And our club motto, got to tell you this, so everybody knows, you come out on a cruise with us, our club motto is come get lost with us. We always end up taking the wrong road. Something happened, the road closed, and you have to modify it on the jump, while you're driving along. And that's been our motto. This is our 32nd year, I think. That first Dells run was back in 92, so that's 32 years, I think, ago. Something like that. You're doing your math on your fingers?
I did. Yep, 32 years.
32 years, yeah. This is 32 years ago is when the first time we went to the Dells. So after 32 years, we're still running strong and coming up with new ideas and fun. And I'll give you a quick hint. I'm working on next year's Dells already.
See? You're already ahead of the game.
Yep. That's a little hint for everybody that we will be coming back next year. And hopefully the rates will stay the same.
Right.
I got to see if we can work it out,
You always do.
So, well, we've been pretty fortunate that because we've been going there so long that they let us do what we want, and I have to say this for all the people who come to the Dells, we're a good group. We never cause any problems. Yeah. And we take care of the area. It's not like we go up there and trash the place.
Mm-hmm.
And they like that. So
treat them with respect.
The third and fourth generation. Yeah. So our third and fourth generation are coming up there to have fun. So now, like you were talking about, we have people that come up with their Fiero and a van full of the rest of the family, and so they'll, Minnesota people, when they were younger, this is another clue for people. You can't afford your room, $100 a night, double room. Every room has at least 2 beds in it. So hook up with one of your buddies. Now you just cut your room rate to $50 for the night.
There you go.
Minnesota would have 4 or 5 guys in a room because they came up for the show and have fun. And they didn't want to spend the money on the room. They wanted to spend it on having fun.
Exactly.
So there's all ways to come up and cut your costs. But you got to get your room reserved now. When I talked to Renata yesterday, our block of rooms is filling up quick. And I said, you got to be kidding me. I might have to make more trophies. I went, holy cows. You kind of guess how many people are going to show up. And then you're always surprised how many people show up.
And there's still time to register. Pre-registration closes when?
May 5th. And we're having a special drawing for everybody who pre-registers. You'll get a free night stay at Chula Vista and free entry into the car show. So you're talking about $150 or $200 that you'll be saving just by pre-registering.
There you go.
You know, somebody's going to win it, and it doesn't cost you anything more, you know, to pre-register. It helps us out with how many shirts to get, especially this year with the 3 colors of shirts. That's going to be something different. But the design this year is based off of red, white, and blue. So just so everybody knows, it'll be neat shirts this year.
There you go. All right. I think I've kept you long enough. I think 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I promised you 45 minutes.
I told you, you get me talking about the Dells, and I can't stop.
Yep. You were
But that's how it is.
spot on that. Yes. So, all right. Well, thank you very much for joining me tonight, Tom.
Thank you very much, Mike, for having me. And hello to all the fanatics out there.
There you go.
We're here.
Yep.
There you go.
All right.
Have a good one.
You too. Have a good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Thank you. And a big thank you again to Tom Pazimski, president of the Wisconsin Fiero Fanatics, for joining me tonight for this episode of Fiero Cast. And again, as a reminder, this year's Wisconsin Dells Fiero Fanatics show will be from May 30th through June 2nd. Get those reservations in. You still got a week or so. I highly recommend going. It is a great show to go to. Great way to kick off the show season for 2024. So again, thank you to Tom, and it's always a pleasure. Hope you guys enjoyed what I think is just about a 2-hour podcast. So thank you for joining us again tonight. This episode and podcast was produced by GoldenEye Graphic, published through FieroFocus.com, and is a production of the Northern Illinois Fiero Enthusiasts. Thank you for joining me tonight. I am your host, Mike Croyer, and thank you for listening to the award-winning and newest episode of FieroCast. This episode, number 46. And as always, it is the only podcast dedicated to the Pontiac Fiero and the Fiero community. If you'd like more information or have any ideas on future FieroCasts, you can email me at mkroyer@fierofocus.com. Remember to keep Fieroing, and good night, Fiero owners, wherever you are.